Back to Walks in Wall Street. Today is Saturday, February 24th, 2024. The time is roughly 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're reporting live just shy of Billionaires Row, East 56th Street and Madison Avenue by 432 Park Avenue. Now, as you know, today is Saturday, so we're going to be kind of light on the financial topics. For those of you who are new here, Monday through Friday, we do a stream around the city for 2 hours. Usually we start at 8:30. We talk about the financial markets, we talk about the state of New York City real estate market and the like. And Saturday is kind of our day off, if you will. We take it easy, we explore the city, kind of have a good time. It's good to take, kind of one day off from the market. And Sundays are our markets a look ahead days. So we spend the entire stream on Sunday nights pretty much doing a quick preface of the week ahead. We go through any notable earnings reports, any key economic data that is going to be reported that week, and then we give a little bit of an outlook. However, I do think it's important before we start just to quickly review. The S&P 500 did close at an all-time new weekly record high, but it was well off the highs, closed at pretty much the low of the day and the low of the week. S&P 500 is back above 5,000. Cash close was about 5,088. Just a quick reminder, the 50-day moving average on the S&P sits at about 4848, so 4,848. The big thing that we've been watching, and the main headline, at least in my world, has been Japan. The Japanese equity market has reached a new all-time record high for the first time since before I was even on this earth, before I was born. 1989 was the last time Japan traded at all-time record highs. We've gone over 2 decades trading sideways, building at a massive sort of cup base, and Japan closed at a new all-time record high. So this trend that we're watching now, with a lot of these countries in Asia, specifically watching Japan, specifically watching Korea and India, it seems like they could be the new top trio over in Asia to dethrone China. Now, I want to take you behind the desk here for a moment, just so you can get a visual, just because this is an incredible visual here. So right now we are looking at the monthly chart of the Japanese equity indices, Nikkei 225. This goes all the way back to 1949, okay? So Japan has had a history of going on these multi-decade bull runs with these multi-decade consolidations. And we've just now punched through the top. So I think this should be on everybody's radar. This could potentially be the beginning of the new golden age in Japan for outsized performance and potentially generate a little bit of alpha in our portfolios. Only other update I got for you guys, this coming up week, okay, on Thursday, it is going to be a very, very jam-packed Behind the Street newsletter, because we're going to be talking a lot about private equity, but we're also going to be talking about how we can use a lot of the price action lately in a lot of the investment banks, specifically the boutique investment banks, right? So if you think about Julian Loki, Piper Sandler, Evercore, things like that, how can we use kind of price action as a leading economic indicator to essentially talk about the resurgence of the public markets, the private markets, right? Initial public offerings, M&A activity, private equity, and the like. So if you scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email, this Thursday, right at the market close, I'm going to be sending that research piece out to everybody. Okay, this is going to be very, very critical. So scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, and you will have access to our Substack that has about 2 years of archived research available to everybody for free. So just a quick reminder, Thursday, right as the market closes, we will be sending that out. All right, let me go ahead and close up the laptop here. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat, and we will kick the stream off and get started on this Saturday night in New York. Thank you all for joining. All right, let's see what we got here, my friends. Let's see what we got. And by the way, it's going to be an extremely windy night. I mean, the wind is absolutely ridiculous. This is probably one of the windiest winters I've ever experienced in New York City. It's crazy today. I actually shot a walking tour video of the Hudson Yards. If you guys haven't seen that, because we've been discussing lately quite a bit about the pending doom in the commercial real estate sector in New York. I wanted to provide some clarity on that and put out a longer form standalone video. So feel free to check that out. Steph UF is here. What is going on? Justin. Timothy's here. What's up? Willens. Bobby Douglas. Diana. Welcome. Mr. King of Florida. DM, the one and only, is here. Good to see you, DM. Hopefully I will see you soon. Lynn, happy birthday. Good to see you. Kristen. Teating 35. Welcome. Kimberly. Troy Atman. Lance. DC322. Happy Saturday. Palmer is here. Says hello, Tom, from South Dakota. Love that. Elizabeth Gill is the city is going to be electric. If it's really, you know, if those weather forecasts come to fruition, the city's going to be rocking on Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to that. Probably be a lot of people out. SoCal Lawrence, what's up? Madison 32 says happy weekend to you, Tom. I've seen your newest listing and it's a beautiful place. Hey, Madison, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks so much. Ozzy says good evening, Tom, watching from Orlando, Florida. Thank you, Ozzy. Someone says we're going through a little bit of buffering. Yeah, there's been a lot of internet issues, hasn't there? Particularly, there's been a lot of internet issues over the last week. That's another crazy thing that we've been discussing. It's been in the news lately. Apparently, AT&T had a massive outage over the last week. Didn't only span in New York, it was across the entire country. Apparently for a long duration of time, there was significant outages from AT&T. There was speculations of a cyber attack. I don't know, maybe it was just a software update or something that went awry. Who knows? I don't really think anybody knows, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was some sort of cyber attack. 2024 is an election year, so if there's any year in the history of America that there's probably going to be much more cybercrime and attacks and threats, not only on government infrastructure in the United States, but you know, communications infrastructure that's very critical, it's probably going to be this year. It's probably going to be this year. So everybody will have to be on very, very, very high alert. Daryl is here from Chicago. What's up, Daryl? We're walking down Fifth Avenue now, and you can notice, you know, due to the wind, if you look at all the flags flying, you see the American flag blowing in the breeze there. You see the St. Regis, New York flag blowing in the breeze. Not a lot of people are out. It's kind of like a ghost town tonight. Very much of a juxtaposition from yesterday. There's tons of people out. We'll still head down to the West Village to see if people are out. We'll see. Hey, Mike says might have something to do with that balloon flying over the country. I saw that. I didn't really read too much into it. Apparently there was yet another spy balloon. I don't know if it was a spy balloon flying out of the US, so who knows? Never know. This is 689 Fifth Avenue. I love this shot of the American flags here. Now right here on the corner of East 54th Street, This is the Mandarin Oriental Residences. So if you are a big fan of the Mandarin Oriental hotel chain, you actually have the opportunity to buy a condominium that is branded by Mandarin Oriental. You're right here, prime location, just steps away from Radio City Music Hall, steps away from Saks Fifth Avenue, a few blocks away from Central Park, but most importantly, you have close proximity to Rockefeller Center. This is one of my favorite buildings across the street. This is the University Club. Now, we're not really allowed to film inside, but the law is if it's visible from the outside, you can stand on the street and film. You gotta check out the architectural integrity of this building. It's unreal. You can Google it yourself. It's called the University Club. It's fantastic. And look at all those crown moldings on the ceiling. Very similar to what you would see in the Stephen Schwarzman building at the New York Public Library. Pretty cool, right? You have the valet front entrance here. Looks really nice. So let's actually cut over a little bit and we'll head to 6th Avenue. Or I should say Avenue of the Americas. And then we'll make our descent down. I mean, you can even see a little bit inside. You see that amazing chandelier here. All this beautiful architecture. I've said this many times, but that's one of the things I really love about New York City that I kind of don't really get in Miami too much. I think New York is a very unique city. You know, a few blocks, you can get all of this old architecture. Then you can walk another few blocks, you can get a lot of the pre-war buildings. Then you can get some of the brownstones. And then you walk another few blocks, and guess what? You could see 53 West 53rd Street on Billionaires Row, and you could walk up to 57th Street and see 157. You could see Central Park Tower and so many of these other, you know, glass encased skyscrapers. Now, we've passed this listing before. Check this out. This is an entire townhouse right off of 5th Avenue. I mean, you guys have got to see this. I'm actually trying to set up a time where I could come in and tour this listing. This is an entire mansion for sale, guys. I mean, you got to look at the inside of this. We can't physically go in, but look at that. Can you imagine walking just off of 5th Avenue and literally walking into your home here? Just seems so strange. You have this beautiful spiral staircase that goes up. These floors, I mean, have a lot of opportunity here. These look like kind of like those herringbone floors. You can redesign them, resurface them. And boom, this is where you walk out. This could be your own personal mansion right here off of 5th Avenue. Just an incredibly unique property. It's amazing. So stay tuned for that. I'm trying to set up a sort of like a walkthrough here. I mean, how cool would that be to be able to take an inside tour of a mansion that sits directly off of New York City's 5th Avenue and right across the street from MoMA. Just really stunning, right? Yeah, Steph UF says it looks gorgeous. It's just an amazing property. And look what you're next to. You know, everything is super well maintained, well kept. You have those brownstone-esque steps leading up to the front door. This is actually a really nice restaurant. I believe it has a Michelin star. Hey, Justin. What's up? Palmer says you probably have to show your bank account balance before you view it. I mean, the broker works like in the office right next to mine, so I could probably just walk over and ask her. Matthew M, just whoever buys the place, yeah, for sure, is very, very wealthy. For absolutely. I think we've had this conversation before, right? Kind of talking about if you had to pick one, right? If money wasn't an issue for you, you could just pick one place to live in New York. Do you think you would choose, to live at the top of Central Park Tower or at 53 West 53rd Street here? Or would you choose kind of, an original townhouse, right in Manhattan? Hey, Davi says, hey, Tom, long time no see. It's good to be back here. Davi, what's going on, man? Hopefully you're well. Yeah, hopefully everything is going great with you. We'll have to connect offline. I remember we were having conversations about, some of your fundraising efforts there. Hopefully we see you back in New York City soon. Troy Atman says, I choose the 432 Park Avenue penthouse. It's a fantastic choice. Yeah, 432 is very iconic. We discussed that building a lot. The developer is Harry Macalow. And all of the windows in that building are these monstrous 10-foot by 10-foot windows that is in every single apartment. This is 53 West 53rd. Even though it's not on New York City's Billionaires Row, 57th Street, it is considered a Billionaires Row-esque building. Talbot says, you think you want to live in a penthouse? Yeah, I mean, I think I like 157. That's my favorite building. That is developed by Extel, so Gary Burnett's company. But I also do like the, more Art Deco style architecture that you see in Manhattan. It's very, very, I would say very, very true to New York, particularly with the Empire State Building. Hey, David says hello from Dallas. Good to see you, David. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you're having a good weekend. It's a cold one though in New York. We're standing across the street from Alliance Bernstein, AB. Hey, Dobby says, yeah, man, that's right. I do want to get back there for sure. Miss New York City like crazy. Hey, you got to come back, just in time for the spring. So this is the Alliance Bernstein building, but I forget what floor it is, right? There is a very notable hedge fund here called Fortress Investments. Fortress. And every time we pass this office, we talk about Mike Novogratz. It kind of brings me back memories of Michael Novogratz. Now, he's a very interesting guy, very successful guy on Wall Street, and he's had a hell of a career, even still now. He started off working at Goldman Sachs, and then he was actually at Goldman Sachs when they went public. He was a partner at Goldman. He went to Fortress Investments, where he also made a fortune there, and now he's started his own company. I believe it is called Galaxy Digital, and they headhunt a lot of junior investment bankers. And essentially what the company does is they help institutions, family offices get exposure to the cryptocurrency ecosystem, so to speak, right? Mike Novogratz actually, and I didn't even know this until one of you guys sent it to me. He has his own podcast now, which is actually very helpful, particularly if you are working on Wall Street, if that was kind of the career route you've chosen, right? If you work at a big investment management company or an investment bank, that's a really good podcast to listen to. He brings on a lot of his old buddies that used to be partners with him at Goldman. He kind of dishes out some advice of how to survive on the street. It's a very interesting podcast. Hey, Western Mass Dave. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Palmer says, over the last 100 years, a lot of great movies were filmed in New York, for sure. Absolutely. Oh, cool. Someone says my mom used to work in that building back in the 80s. I can't even imagine working in New York City in the 80s and then watching just the skyline transform in and of itself. It's pretty incredible. Hey, Dinesh is here. What's up? Good to see you, Dinesh. Wow, Caitlin says the listing of that townhome says it was built for the cousin and business partner of JP Morgan. It's unbelievable. I'm gonna have to do some more digging into that. I mean, can you imagine the history behind that building? I mean, you could spend an entire lifetime walking the streets in New York and finding out the history of each and every little building. You know, notable people who have resided at these buildings. It's pretty cool. You know what I just found out? One of you guys sent me a really interesting article about the Sherry Netherland. And apparently Judge Judy actually used to have a beautiful unit there at the Sherry Netherland. And yeah, sold it to, I believe, a very high profile name in venture capital. Kind of cool. Hey, Davi says, have you shifted from finance to real estate? Yeah, so I spent about a decade in tech sales. And now I have joined the Kirsten Jordan team at Douglas Elliman. And I also work with Kirsten's husband. He's a pretty prominent real estate developer from Italy. So he's done a lot of projects in New York City. And that's kind of where I want to get involved, is, you know, develop buildings here in the city, maybe acquire some distressed assets in New York to hopefully do either condo conversions or complete teardowns and then build our own product. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in New York, and you know, it's good to work under somebody at a very small shop. You know, their firm is only 2 people, so I think that'll give me a lot of good exposure to some deal flow. And the team, the sales team that I'm on, we're pretty much top, I would say consistently top 10 at Douglas Elliman in the luxury market. So that's good for networking, obviously, and good for fundraising, and, you know, good all around. Hey, Joe E says, what's up, Tom and team? Thanks for the stream. No worries. We're going to the West Village, but we're going to take a detour through Times Square because apparently something cool's going on there. We'll try to get a glimpse of that. But we are currently walking past Neuberger Berman, which is another big asset manager right here. Love the lobby of this office building. This is 1290 Avenue of the Americas, Neuberger Berman. Now, I work not too far away from this building, a little bit further down, 1166 Avenue of the Americas. This is really my favorite strip. If you're gonna work anywhere in the city, I think this strip between, I'd say, 57th Street and probably 45th Street on 6th Avenue is probably the best place to work. It's really fun. Lots of people walking around in the middle of the day, getting lunch, you know, grabbing coffee. It really feels like you're in the thick of the New York experience if you work right on this block. It's an awesome, awesome environment to be. You have UBS right here. You also have Mizuho, which is the big Japanese investment bank. You can see some of their trading floor up here in a moment. Hey, Sally, what's up? It's a beautiful view, Tom. Really nice. Thank you. Now, I'm kind of biting my tongue here a little bit because I really want to go in and talk about some of these topics, but it is Saturday. I spent pretty much the entire day today at my desk reviewing, you know, I mean, hundreds of charts and analyzing, going through tons and tons of companies. And I'm seeing something very encouraging here, particularly in the, obviously, very big publicly traded PE shops, right? If you talk about KKR. But more specifically, by the way, I'm seeing a lot of positive action in the boutique investment banks. So if you want to think about a boutique investment bank, you can think about, you know, Julian Loki and the like. Almost all of the Piper Sandler, another. Almost all of the top publicly traded, very boutique style investment banks are all trading at 52-week highs and into new all-time record highs. And earnings have been improving quite materially, and that's very encouraging for a multitude of reasons, which I think is appropriate for us to review. But we can't review it tonight because we're supposed to take the night off, but it seems like I can't get the finance bug out of my system. So this is all really encouraging stuff. So regardless of what you see in the media about the doom and gloom, you know, when you see positive action there, you know, particularly in a lot of these more boutique style investment banks, and if their earnings are up, you kind of have to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together, right? As we look at Radio City Music Hall, these boutique investment banks work on a lot of restructuring, right? So companies will hire them for restructuring, they'll hire them for M&A deals, taking companies public. So if earnings are up, you know, that means their fee income is up. And how do they make money? Well, they bill on, you know, big M&A transactions, and that's exactly kind of what needs to open up in order for this market to really get rocking, even more than it already is. So this is very encouraging action here. I think deal making on Wall Street is going to pick up significantly in 2024. And, you know, a leading indicator that we could look at is the price action in these banks and the big publicly traded PE shops like Blackstone and KKR. All right. I always love this shot right here of Radio City. So iconic. Just an absolute New York City icon right here on Avenue of the Americas. But also, you have 30 Rock right here, Rockefeller Center. Love it. Okay, let's kind of take a detour down here. Let's go into the heart of Times Square. But if you guys want to, on Thursday, I'm going to be doing an entire breakdown in our newsletter talking about, you know, some of these things that we just reviewed. So if you want to sign up for our free investing newsletter, just go ahead and scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email, and you will be signed up for our Substack. We publish every other Thursday after the market closes. Just real quick here, you can see Mizuho. Yeah, Mizuho, AIG, and the like here. But let's investigate Times Square. Let's see what's going on here. MK says billionaires are dumping stock. Seems like something is coming up. Maybe I don't really look into that all too much, but I will say this. Yeah, there's been a lot of insider selling, particularly, you know, Bezos. But if you look at, you know, what he's said, he wants to roll a lot of that. He needs the liquidity to roll into his other ventures, which just so happens to be Blue Origin, right? But I know the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is selling a lot. However, I will say this. It is notable to look at, but I did receive a very good piece of advice from a very well-respected trader on the street. And she said, she's like, Tom, insiders sell for a million different reasons, right? Maybe it's to manage liquidity. Maybe you want to buy a home. Maybe you're putting your kids through college. Maybe you're making a big charitable donation. Maybe you're going to buy a business, whatever, make another investment. But there's only one reason why an insider would buy their company's stock, because they think it's going to go higher. So I actually put a little bit more credence and a little bit more weighting on insider buying as opposed to insider selling, if that makes sense. Now, I'm not being dismissive, right? I think it's important to look at that. But if I had to rank the order of importance, so to speak, it would much more be insider buying as opposed to insider selling. Because people can sell for a million different reasons, but you're only going to buy your company stock for one reason, and that's if you think it's going to go up. So All right, well, it appears we've made it to Times Square. This is West 50th Street, and you're looking all the way down to 1 Times Square, in the heart of it. Hey, Mimi, what's up? Thanks for joining. MK's Jamie Dimon selling stock is notable. Yeah, and he very, very seldom sells anything. Now, does anybody remember the time we saw Hugh Jackman right here? I forget the play or the show that he was in, but we saw him coming right out of this theater right here a while back. That was cool. Hugh Jackman's a good guy. Really talented guy, too. I'm trying to remember the name of the Broadway show that he was in. Does anybody remember that? I'm trying to remember the name of the show. But yeah, he's a really talented guy. He's a really cool guy, too. Nice guy. Oh, Music Man. You're right. Caitlin, you're correct. No. It was was it The Greatest Showman or something? I don't know. Anyway. Now, speaking of Wall Street, this is the last thing we'll say. This is Barclays Investment Bank, which is the British investment bank, but this actually used to be the location of Lehman Brothers. So Dick Folds, the former CEO of Lehman Brothers before they collapsed, if you've watched many of the documentaries on the great financial crisis, you probably saw this exact shot of all the bankers coming out of these revolving doors here at 745 7th Avenue, with cardboard boxes in hand. Yeah, the LT Prance is Jackman is very underrated, and he's an extremely hard worker, and he's totally shredded. He's very disciplined. Hey, Joel PM. Good to see you. Welcome to Times Square. Says it's important to note the percentage of their holdings in the sale rather than the nominal amount. True. Yeah, like even though Bezos is dumping, or selling a lot of stock, in relation to the overall percentage of his exposure, it's kind of almost negligible, right? It's kind of crazy when, imagine being that wealthy, guys. Like, I can't even picture that in my mind. Imagine being so wealthy that if you sell a few $1 billion worth of stock, it's deemed almost negligible. It doesn't really even move the needle on your entire net worth. To me, that's a little crazy. That's a little nuts, to be honest, but looks like there's a lot of traffic though going into Times Square. But if you are all enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these streams almost every day starting at 8:30. Let's see what's going on up here. This is West 48th Street. Very close to Morgan Stanley. There was a big brawl in Times Square the other night, or last night. I'm not sure if anybody heard about that, so we're probably going to limit our duration here. We're going to account for some duration risk. We'll limit to 15 minutes in Times Square. That's the only duration we'll be here for. Don't want to get in any mess. Right here, that is the 2024 numerals, where they dropped the ball on New Year's Eve. I see Andy is here from South Korea. Annyeonghaseyo. Andy, welcome. Carl Roth. Hey, Carl. Carl, I was on a conference call today, actually this morning, about the garage that we're selling. And we've gotten so much inquiry about this garage from people that want to install level 2 chargers in the garage, which is wild. So almost everybody in the garage who's purchased so far has an EV. The problem is it's totally overwhelmed the electric grid for the electricity in our garage. So we've priced it out, and we have to do a full rip and replace and a big upgrade of the electric in the garage. It's going to cost about $50,000 to do. Which makes sense, right? I mean, if you have a Tesla, you know, let's say if you have a Tesla Model S or an X in New York City, it's going to be very difficult to charge it, right? So if you can buy your own parking spot and install a charger, I think that's worth the money. The only problem there is, you know, they're going to blow the whole garage, so we have to redo all the electric.
It's time for some C-Team Summer Volleyball.
All right, let's see what we got here.
Balls are going to be served into the crowd. You gotta bounce them back and keep on bouncing. When the music stops,
Back to 6th Avenue. Let's head back to 6th Avenue, and then we'll head down. Speaking of Jamie Dimon selling stock, there's his new office tower right here. Pretty cool shot of the full moon too. Okay, I think we should be out of the buffer zone. Carl Roth's Tom. Jamie Dimon is a graduate of Harvard. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, most, you know, big corporate CEOs, particularly, you know, those titans of Wall Street, are all Ivy League graduates, right? I mean, Bill Ackman went to Harvard Business School as well. CEO and founder of Pershing Square. All right, this should take us a straight shot out of here. John, good to see you. Someone says there's 3,000 people in Times Square right now. I guess that would explain all of the buffering, right? Yeah, Gary says Princeton, Harvard, Yale, London School of Economics. True. And that's kind of, I would say that's probably one of the greatest value propositions of going to a big Ivy League school, right? Is really the network of people you build. It's almost like it's in the lineage of people's families. Chances are, you know, if you went to Harvard Business School or you went to an Ivy League, there's a high probability your children are also going to go there as well. So the networking opportunities are pretty incredible there. I think that's, you know, the education everybody talks about, you know, is going to college worth it anymore? I think it is if you can get into a top 50 school. I think regardless of what you do, if you are smart enough to go to an Ivy League institution or a top 50 school, I think it's totally worth it. I think you over the course of your lifetime, you're probably going to make that investment back tenfold, maybe even, you know, 100-fold. Hey, JC from South Africa. Welcome to Midtown Manhattan. We're going to head to the Village today. It may take us a little while to get there, so. Before I forget, I'll recommend this one more time. If anybody's coming to New York City and you're looking for something very unique and very cool to do, I would check with the Centurion Lounge at the top of 1 Vanderbilt. I'll quickly show you. So the building that is all illuminated in blue, there's the American Express Centurion Lounge, I believe, on the 53rd floor. Highly recommend. It is very expensive, right? Very, very expensive. But, you know, if you're a tourist and you're just traveling to New York and you're looking for something interesting to do, the views are really spectacular. And I believe if you want to go to the top of 1 Vanderbilt, it's called Summit at 1 Vanderbilt. What is that, like 60 bucks? So you might as well make a reservation at the Centurion Lounge. You could have a nice dinner, you could sit at the bar, have a drink, and you pretty much have panoramic views of the city. It's unbelievable. You're higher up than most all of the surrounding buildings, and you're looking directly into the spire of the Chrysler Building. It's almost like a surreal experience. The views in New York City are just unparalleled. I'll try to post some of the photos that I took of Bryant Park. And the reason why it's so unique is because if you go early enough, you're looking down at the Winter Village at Bryant Park. You can see all the ice skaters. It's a really, really cool experience. And you don't get any of the crowdedness of the tourist stuff of the Edge or the Summit at 1 Vanderbilt. It's very private up there. It is awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey, thank you so much. It says try getting a reservation at Dorsia now. Thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for your support. This shot of the Empire State Building is amazing here. Peter says, do you have to be a Centurion card holder to get in? I'm not paying. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. I think at one point you did. You don't have to. You just have to be a customer of American Express, I believe. So if you call the number on the back of your American Express card, you just have to make a reservation. That's it. You just have to make a reservation. And if they have space, they will get you in there. But you have to show up because I think there's like a really, really high cancellation fee. I believe it's $200. So the cancellation fee's high. So make sure if you make the reservation, you go. All right, everybody, we are now approaching the corner of 42nd Street and Avenue of the Americas. I knew, and I know, I said I wouldn't talk about the markets, but this is Salesforce Tower, okay? Big SaaS powerhouse. Ticker symbol is CRM, and next week we are going to be doing a deep dive and full coverage of Salesforce earnings. They're reporting earnings next week, and I'm very, very excited to see how they report. Specifically because there was big activist investing push to have them really crack down and try to improve operating margin, cut costs significantly. So for anybody who's been following some of the biggest activist investors over the years, such as Bill Ackman, a lot of times in activist investing, these big hedge funds or activist investors will take large controlling stakes in companies, right? And essentially what they'll do is they'll try to take such a big, large controlling stake in the company where they actually get board seats so they can influence decision making, right? So if they see a company that's fantastic and has so much promise and so much value, they could actually get on the board and say, hey, make these appropriate changes to unlock even more shareholder value. And that's actually what's going on with Salesforce right now. And after a lackluster 2 years of performance, the stock is trading at 52-week highs. Hey, Dustin Jackson, thank you so much for your $10 donation. Says this is fantastic info, been watching for a bit. Can't wait to be there next month. Hey, cool. If you want to send me an email at thomas.malloy@element.com, I will email you a complete list of my highly most recommended things to do in New York City. I'll show you all the good spots. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have to have an American Express black card, just call the number on the back of your American Express card and say, I'd like to make a reservation for the Centurion Lounge at 1 Vanderbilt. So there's really 3 levels there. You could just hang out at the lounge, that's number 1. Number 2, you could have drinks at the bar. And number 3, you could have a meal, a sit-down meal. You could choose between a 5-course dinner or a 3-course. And I think it's about $165 a person. So if you don't want to spend that, you can just go up there and get a drink and enjoy the views. So check it out. But thank you so much for your very generous and kind donation. I appreciate your support very much. Hey, DC, what's up? Good to see you. We are now approaching the Bank of China. DMG says greetings from Chile, Canada. Thank you for the stream. DMG, appreciate it. It's chilly here too, but the good news is it's supposed to warm up to about 60 degrees by the middle of the week, next week, which is great. Someone says, Tom, Jimmy V says, Tom, I just read that Warren Buffett at 93 years old drinks 5 cans of soda a day. No, Dustin, it's thomas.malloy. It should be in the link in the description. Or if you just type !Thomas, THOMAS in the chat, it'll drop the link to my bio and you can email me. But you know what I just found out also, which I never knew? Speaking of Warren Buffett, obviously we know in 2023, we lost some incredible investors. Okay, the finance community lost just unbelievable, iconic investors. 3 of them that come to mind. Number 1, Sam Zell, if you want to think about real estate private equity. He unfortunately passed away. Then you had William J. O'Neill, the CEO and founder of O'Neill Securities and Investors Business Daily. He unfortunately passed away last year. And then we had Charlie Munger, which is Warren Buffett's right-hand man. And Warren Buffett actually just released a statement sort of making a tribute to Charlie Munger. And apparently, and I never knew this, and I may have to double confirm on this because I only briefly read it, but supposedly Charlie Munger didn't even get into the investment business until he was 38 years old. Could someone confirm that? I thought I read that in that letter. He didn't really become a portfolio manager or an investor until 38. So, I mean, look at the success he's had. So if you think it's too late to get involved in really anything, I think that goes to show it's really never too late to start a new career. And that doesn't just apply to finance, it can apply to anything. Maybe you want to learn how to swim. If you're 38, go ahead. Learn how to swim. It's never too late to learn a new skill. So, words of encouragement there. Hey, Colton Manning, what's up? Good to see you, Colton. Franks is speaking of activist investors. Do you think... I don't know, Frank. I'm actually not too familiar with that, to be quite honest, so I can't even make a comment. I don't know. But all I know is that a lot of Disney shareholders are not too happy, right? And we won't try to spark a political conversation, but this whole DEI predicament and ESG that's exploded on Wall Street and in corporate America, is raising some eyebrows. Now, if you remember, I've been talking about ESG, okay, the environmental and social governance, for a long time on the stream. I've been warning about this. Maybe I should. Yeah, not a big fan of ESG, but that's all crumbling. And I think anybody who, really studied what ESG actually was knew it was a big fraud. And that's all I'll say about that. So we're fast approaching Herald Square. You're going to see Macy's, the largest department store in the world. And as we head towards the village, hopefully we'll see a lot of people out and about. And if we have time, I'll check the battery. If we have time, we'll take one past to Koreatown, which is on 32nd Street, Korea Way. Lori Crockett Owens, welcome. Jonathan from Florida. What's up, Jonathan? Good news. I will be in your neck of the woods very soon. The first week of March, I will be in your town, my friend. So maybe we'll bump into each other. Never know. Make a little detour here. Hey, Mark Phillips says, Tom, you have an interesting choice for an X profile pic. Yeah, that's one of the greatest proprietary traders of all time, Jesse Livermore. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, which is now known as X, my profile photo is of Jesse Livermore, my favorite, all-time favorite stock market operator. I'll recommend a very good book for anybody who's interested in trading the financial markets. The book is called Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. and it's based upon the life of Jesse Livermore. So essentially, he would go down to Wall Street when there was actually, you were trading in bucket shops. They were called back in the day. You would trade with physical pieces of paper in the bucket shops. And then he would come all the way up to Central Park South, and he would have a drink at the Sherry Netherland Hotel. So oftentimes, people who are very into financial history, and if they're not from New York, they'll stay at the Sherry Netherland just to, kind of reminisce on the life of Jesse Livermore, who unfortunately took his own life in the cloakroom of the Sherry Netherland on Thanksgiving Day. Someone says I'm a Howard Marks guy. I have a recommendation as well. There's hold on, let me just pull off to the side here. Check my battery. Great view of the Empire State Building. Spine says I'm a Howard Marks guy myself. Watch every video I can get my hands on. So Howard Marks, if you want to watch a really good video with Howard Marks, he is one of the things he's a very big proponent of is consistently writing well, right? Him along with Bill Ackman, they've said if you can write 10,000 words a week consistently on any subject, over time you will really, really improve your communication skills and become a much better interlocutor. So, I forget the name of the podcast, but if you just type in Howard Marks, How I Write into YouTube, okay, once again, Howard Marks, How I Write, it's going to bring you to a podcast with David Perel, who is the CEO and founder of Rite of Passage. So he teaches an online writing course, which is very good. Teaches essentially like MBA level business writing, how to be very succinct, to the point, and a writer, right? So Howard Marks, yeah, that's a great podcast with David Perel. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams almost every single day, starting at 8:30 p.m. We walk around New York City, talk about the financial markets, and just kind of explore the city and enjoy all that New York has to offer. Oh, you found it. Twisted Spine says, yep, top result. Thank you, saving for later. You're going to love that. You are absolutely going to love that. And that whole podcast is really good too. It's about how to be an effective writer, how to communicate better within your organization. And yeah, I pretty much watched every single one of them. Carter says it needs to be a city down south like New York City. Make it unbeatable seems like a missed golden opportunity. Well, I think Miami is getting there. They say that Miami, Florida is the 6th borough of New York City. Which will be in Miami March 1st, by the way. Right. So we are now officially making the transition from Midtown Manhattan down into Koreatown, and then we will make our way to the Flatiron District. Now, speaking of podcasts, I was watching my all-time favorite documentary today. And the documentary, actually, at one point, it wasn't really banned, but Paul Tudor Jones was really trying to take it down. It's called Documentary of a Trader, and it really follows Paul Tudor Jones right when he started his hedge fund, Tudor Investments. It's about a 45-minute documentary. It's very difficult to find. The videos constantly go up and down on YouTube. But check that out. It's called Documentary of a Trader. Just type in Documentary of a Trader, Paul Tudor Jones. It's an unbelievable documentary about arguably one of the greatest stock market operators of all time. Paul Tudor Jones is up there. I'd say Stan Druckenmiller. But I was watching that today at the office when I was doing a lot of work today. Justin says, how often do you go to Coney Islands? Never. Hey, Cosmo, what's going on? We're here in Koreatown. Cosmo, what was going on with you today on the Upper West Side? I saw the video that you posted. What was going on with that? So just a random guy came up to you and he was busting your balls or something? What was up? All right. So this is probably one of my all-time favorite places for nightlife in New York City. This is Koreatown. There's tons of Korean barbecue places. There's a really good Malatang place here, a boba place. I mean, if you want to have a really, really good time in New York, come to 32nd Street, Koreatown, and you will have an absolute amazing, amazing time here. All right, let's try to, we'll do one pass of Koreatown and then we'll head out. I think we're making okay time. We've just passed an hour, so we'll do one lap around Koreatown. Okay, first I gotta read what Cosmo says. Cosmo says, yeah, the crazy man came up to me and said I was stalking him. I'm glad he didn't attack me. What? What would have prompted him to think that you were stalking him? Was he just like a crazy guy or what? That's crazy, man. Were you filming a video or something? And he just kind of walked up to you, or do you think he was just kind of out of his mind? Yeah, you gotta be careful. And usually the Upper West Side is pretty good. You know, Upper West Side is like very residential, very quiet. Hey, Dan Sang, what's up?
What's happening?
Oh yeah, Mimi says, I remember when Tom got stalked by that random guy. I totally forgot about that. Funny enough, it was right here. I remember that. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, you just gotta watch out. There's crazy people all over. You know, walking sidewalks, busy sidewalks in New York City, it's kind of like playing football. You gotta find the hole, you gotta find the gap. And then once you split that gap, you know, it's free and clear to the end zone, my friends. So Cosmo, if you're ever in Koreatown, I have a place you gotta check out. This is my new favorite spot in K-Town. Sora Mara, right here. It's on the second floor. This is a Malatung place. So this is technically Chinese food, this soramara, but it has like a Korean, it's a Korean chain for the Malatung. This place is fantastic. I'll turn around just to give you one more look at it. So it's this spot right here, but you have to go through these doors and up the stairs. So if anybody's looking for a really unique, very good place to eat in Koreatown, right here. Right there. That's my new favorite spot in K-Town. It's awesome. It's a bit pricey though, but that's a very good spot. Cooking says you like spicy food. Yeah, I like it. I can't really tolerate like a huge level of spice, but yikes. Food delivery bicycle guys. Some of them are like very aggressive. So here's another thing. This is a big Koreatown update for anybody who loves Koreatown. Baekjung closed down. So this is a whole brand new Korean barbecue chain here. I don't know what happened, but they closed up shop, unfortunately. It's a brand new Korean barbecue place. But the phone is gonna die, so I will plug my phone in. Give me a couple moments here. Hey Anderson, what's up? All right, we're good. We got the battery back. So this is one of the best shots of the Empire State Building. Hey, Williams is Tom. Good tip on Cash Jordan NYC on YouTube. Hey, he's great. He's really good. I don't really watch the local news anymore. I much prefer just to tune into his stuff. I think he does a really good job of getting directly to the point of really what's going on in New York. But yeah, it's true. 35 says, which iPhone are you rocking? We use an iPhone 13 mini, which I think is a good device. I like it a lot. So, all right, let's cross. I want to show you this new K barbecue place that quite literally just opened here. It's kind of sad to see Baekjung go and close down. But in its place, the interior is very nicely designed. And it's completely new. Kind of has a more hip facade. I mean, the place is totally packed, as you can see. So this was the old place. And this is the new spot. Similar prices. You know, about 140 bucks. And it looks pretty good. There's not an empty seat in there. So check it out. If you want to take a screenshot, this is the name of the place. I'm not going to attempt the pronunciation. but I will be checking this out for sure. Oh wow, Justin says there's a game at Madison Square Garden. Cool. All right, so let's get back on Broadway and head down to the Village. So there's another really good tea place right here. This place is open at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's a traditional sit-down, almost like an English-style tea place. It's very, very cool, but it's Korean. But you could sit down and you could have like a traditional tea setup. It's very, very cool. It comes in those English teapots. But let's get back on track here. We'll go through Koreatown. We'll get back on Broadway and we'll bang a left. And that will take us all the way to the Flatiron Building by Madison Square Park. And then eventually we'll continue on our way down to Washington Square Park by NYU. Cosmo says, you try HHD in K-Town yet? What is that? I'm not too sure what that is. But I'll check it out for sure. Try to get out of the crazy crowds. Look how packed it is. This is awesome. I need more places like that open late. Seems like a lot of places in the city these days are closing early. You know what? I totally agree with that. And it didn't used to be like that, by the way. Before the pandemic, there were some coffee shops near NYU that were open till like 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, right, midnight. But after the pandemic, a lot of stuff closed early. And I think we're just getting back to a place. I think we're just getting back to a place now where things are finally starting to stay open a little bit later because the demand is back. The only time I've ever been to Washington, D.C., I don't know how people operate there. Everything closes at like 5 p.m. I don't know how people live there. You know, you get out of work and everything's closed. I don't believe I could ever live in a place like that, where you get off of work, you know, in my industry, you know, sometimes you get off of work at 10 o'clock at night, you know, and everything is locked shut. I think that's why I'll never be able to leave New York City fully. I need to have things open at ridiculous hours of the day and night. Well, this is going to take us right next to the new Virgin Hotel. Hey, Melissa 2087, what's up? Unit J23. Cosmo says, am I going to see the solar eclipse in April? Yeah, sure. I didn't even know what was going on, but absolutely. Have you guys been hearing about these solar flares that are becoming increasingly more powerful? I was reading a NASA article the other day, and there's a huge risk of solar flares. I guess the sun is in a particular cycle where it's sending off these big blasts that could potentially disrupt the power grid. I know it kind of sounds like conspiracy crazy stuff, but I read it from their website. So this is the new Virgin Hotel. The grand opening for this was over the summer in 2023, and Richard Branson was here himself doing the grand opening. There's a pool on the roof, so I'd assume this would be a pretty good place to stay if you visit New York City. I know, Zozo Bob's, Tom, there are very few New York City, very few cities like NYC, Miami, and Vegas. Yeah, that's why I consider myself so lucky. You know, New York City and Miami, I think, are the two best cities in the US by far. Mainly due to the close proximity, right? In theory, if you wanted to live in Miami and if you wanted to have an apartment in New York, you could commute. You know, you can commute. It's only a 2.5 hour flight. You know, you take a 5 a.m. flight out of Miami International. You know, you could be in Midtown Manhattan for your 9:30 in the morning meeting. It's amazing. Hey, Victor C, what's up? NAV407 says we are approaching solar maximum. 11-year cycle. Oh, no way. JF says I was going to stay there last weekend, but my plans fell through. Well, when your plans get back on track, let us know what you thought about it. I think that would be an interesting question for the group. So for anybody who's, I guess, a non-New Yorker and you're visiting New York, or really, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a non-New Yorker, what's your favorite hotel to stay at when you're in New York City? And it doesn't have to be in Manhattan, right? There's some pretty cool hotels in Brooklyn and in Queens. But what's your go-to? If you come to New York, what's your go-to spot to stay? This is the brand new Ritz-Carlton Hotel and Residences right here. You can see amazing views of the Empire State Building. I've pointed this place out multiple times. I'll point it out again. It's on West 27th Street and Broadway. This is a really cool ice cream spot, but it's liquor infused ice cream. 4.9% ABV. So it's a bar, but it's for ice cream that has alcohol in it. Isn't that kind of cool? Wow, SoCal Lawrence is the W Times Square. Okay. Marriott. Gidat's is the old Hotel Chelsea. Pretty cool. Elias is the Hard Rock Hotel. Let me see if I see any good ones here. Oh, the W Astoria, okay. Cool. I think the best hotel I've ever stayed in New York was the Park Hyatt Hotel. It's at 157 West 57th Street. It's inside the Billionaires Row building, 157. It's a really cool hotel. It's very expensive. It's like ridiculously, cartoonishly expensive. Oh, SoCal Lawrence. Check this out. 235th Avenue rooftop. So I know you commented, you were asking what the name of the rooftop was. Well, here it is, 235th rooftop. It's on the corner of West 27th Street and Broadway. 230 5th Avenue. All right, I think we're making good time. We're on almost by the Flatiron Building. Hey, Natalie, always a pleasure. Thanks so much. Melissa 2087 says love 235th rooftop. I've never been. I'm not a big rooftop guy, actually. Not a big rooftop type guy, but probably has amazing views. Cosmos says, was the hotel in 157 worth it? Well, I didn't pay like the rack rate $1,000 a night, but it's an awesome place. I'll say this, from staying at the Park Hyatt Hotel, it's made me like super driven to say at some point in my life, I gotta live at that 157 building. I mean, the building is amazing. It's an incredible, you have to view one of the units at 157 to really kind of understand what I'm talking about. And funny enough, Xtel, who's the developer. So Xtel is, in my view, one of the best real estate developers in New York City. And they were super nice enough to allow me to have access to the last available sponsor unit at 157. The unit is 32D, okay? And next week, so this coming up Thursday, in the Behind the Street newsletter, all the way at the bottom, I'm going to be including the property tour of the last available sponsor unit on Billionaires Row at 157. Now, it's a 1-bedroom, 1.5-bathroom apartment, but what makes it so unique is it's only one of 2 units in the entire building of 157 that has dedicated outdoor space. So this 1-bedroom, 1.5-bathroom apartment has 398 square feet of an outdoor terrace overlooking Billionaires Row. It's a crazy 1-bedroom apartment, and I'm going to show you guys on Thursday. If you want to check it out, all you have to do is scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, and every other Thursday, right as the market is closing, you'll be able to see that property tour. But yeah, so once they sell out this unit, the whole building is going to be sold out, and there's only resales available at 157. So really cool building. You have saltwater swimming pool, you have a private restaurant, you have a whole library, you have an aquarium in there. The place is really cool. I didn't get a chance to film any of the amenities just because it's so private. They don't allow anybody to film in the amenities. They don't want you to disturb the residents. But I have footage of the outside. I have footage of the inside of the unit. It's a really cool place. So And if you're interested in buying it, let me know. Again, you can just scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, and then every other Thursday we send out all of our market research on the US equity markets, fixed income, emerging markets, and New York City real estate. But now we are officially in the Flatiron District. Looking right in front of us is the Flatiron Building. Now this is a cool story here because it just sold at auction and they're doing a complete condo conversion here. But I don't know, the building seems a little bit too narrow for condominiums. Again, I'm not an architect, so I'm sure the units are going to turn out absolutely beautiful. But what do you guys think? Would you own a condo inside the Flatiron Building? I'm interested to see what the floor plates look like. I'll leave it at that. We'll see. Marty, what's up? Hey, Thomas Conroy's. Hey, Tom, thoughts on living on the Upper West Side of Manhattan? I love the Upper West Side. Absolutely love the Upper West Side of Manhattan. It's more residential, right? You're not going to get a lot of the crazy hustle and bustle of Midtown. There's a lot of really nice brownstone style apartments there. And depending on where you are, you know, I would recommend Central Park West between 66th Street and 80th Street. So if you can get a nice place on Central Park West, that is key. It's amazing. So we're about 15 minutes out from Washington Square Park. Hey Kenny, what's up? I'm not too sure, actually, Kenny. So, you know, New York City is a little bit different. You know, you can buy in a condominium in New York, and you could also buy in a co-op. Now, however, a cooperative is a little bit different because you actually don't own your unit. You own shares in a corporation, if that makes sense. So, you know, if you're looking at valuations, chances are condos are going to trade at a higher valuation in terms of price per square foot, right? Because you have full ownership most times, not all the time. But if you're looking at, which you should always look at this, by the way, you should look at what you're purchasing it on a price per square foot basis. Almost all the time, it's going to be lower price per square foot in a co-op because you have more restrictions. There's a lot of more limitations on subletting and the like. Some of them have pet restrictions, guest restrictions, but in a condo, you can do whatever you want. So, the new age of New Yorkers, the younger generations, have really flocked to condominiums because oftentimes they have crazy amenities like swimming pools, you know, dog spas, golf simulators, like so much incredible amenities, bowling alleys, you name it. And that's what people want. And condo, you have complete ownership and there's a lot less restrictions. So it's different. Someone says you are building zero equity. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, yes and no. You own shares in a corporation, in the co-op. You know, some people like that. You know, I've known some co-ops who have very, very high income requirements. You know, you have to put 50% down in the minimum on the property. So it's different. It's different. Hey, go for Hokies. What's up? All right, let's continue to push down here. Someone says, is it worth staying at the Trump Tower? Yeah. That is an amazing hotel. I think it just won the, again, for, I mean, I don't know how many years in a row, the Forbes 5-star hotel list. So that building is 1 Central Park West. I know it very, very well. Our team actually used to have an amazing listing in that building. We used to have like a $25 million listing there. The Alexander brothers took the listing from us, which is all right because they're class, like they're the best in the business. In any event, so 1 Central Park West is the Trump International Hotel and Tower, not to be confused with the Trump Tower on 5th Avenue. Okay, there's 3 distinct entrances to the building. Number 1, you have the Michelin star restaurant Jean Georges. In door number 2, you have the International Hotel. And in door number 3, you have the residences. So if you own a unit or you rent, you go in the 3rd door. And I've stayed at that hotel, and I've also been in some of the units. It's an awesome place. It's an awesome, awesome place. The views, I believe, are even better than the views that you get on Billionaires Row, mainly because, if you think about it, if you're on Billionaires Row, in 157, in 220 Central Park South, in the Steinway building, in 432 Park, you don't get the views of Billionaires Row. But if you're in a very, very high floor at 1 Central Park West, you get all of Central Park. So this almost the same view of Central Park that you would get on Billionaires Row, but you also see everything, every single building on Billionaires Row. And looking at that every day, I mean, that is just unbelievable. So in short, yes, I think it's worth it. Hey, Jonathan from Florida, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Take care. Have a good one. Now, if the viewers here, if you guys and girls are ever interested in seeing a full, complete list of all of our listings here in New York, if you type !Thomas, THOMAS, in the chat, it'll bring you to our page where you'll see all of our listings. And if you know anybody who's interested in purchasing one of them, let us know. We'd be more than happy to help. Coming up here next month, we're going to have an interesting tour of 5 Franklin Place. We finally have the tenant moving out, so we can make sure we appropriately stage the unit, and I think we'll sell it fairly quickly. 5 Franklin Place is a great building in Tribeca, and we are listing Unit 8A. Okay, East 14th Street. This is the new school. This is one of the greatest design schools. Hey Trevor, says a lot of people have wrongly hopped on the anti-New York real estate train, but that's a wrong prognosis long term. I agree, and it's also creating some unbelievable mispricings in the market, which is really good for, well-capitalized investors. You're going to be able to pick up some amazing properties for really, really cheap. So, particularly in the commercial space. This is a good view of the Empire State Building. Okay, so onward to the West Village. MK's Thomas, what are the prices you see in 5 years in New York City? Mayor is running the city. I think that's a very broad statement. Now, are you talking like commercial? Are you talking residential? Because the New York City real estate market is very, very diverse and very niche. That was almost a collision with the food delivery bike guys. I think there's going to be neighborhoods that see extraordinary price appreciation, and I think you're going to see some neighborhoods that don't really do too well. Justin says, Tom, do you own a car or do you walk everywhere? I do not own a car in New York, and I don't think I would ever own a vehicle in this city. Ooh, it's getting cold out, guys. Hey, Elliott Wave Review, what's up? Elliott Wave Review, I was thinking about you today because I was watching one of my favorite documentaries of all time, which is the documentary of a trader, Paul Tudor Jones. Now that's a documentary when Paul Tudor Jones was just starting his company, Tudor Investments, his hedge fund. And at one point, Paul Tudor Jones wanted it scrubbed off the internet. He wanted it taken down. So oftentimes it'll get taken down and then they'll just put it back up again. Yeah, Kenny says it's 30 degrees chilly, and with the wind chill, it's windy out tonight. It's in the 20s. Hey, Dan H is hype up for tomorrow. First time going to Florida. Oof. Awesome. Well, I'm going to follow you down there next week. Not next week, the week after. I'll be back in Miami. Can't wait. Fingers crossed. Hopefully there's no rain. I need some 80-degree days. I need it to be some 80-degree days when I'm in Miami. When I was there last time, it was cold. It was like 75 degrees. And for South Florida, it's pretty cold. If it's 75 degrees in Miami during the day, that means at night it's like 60 degrees. And that's cold. Oh, you know what? Before I forget, you guys will never guess who I ran into yesterday. So right as we concluded the live stream last night, we concluded the live stream right outside the Comedy Cellar. I'm not sure if you guys remember. So right off of MacDougal Street there. And then I spent the next 30 minutes recording a standalone live stream, okay? I wanted to film a video of a live stream, well, film a video, what's it called? Of the nightlife in New York City, right? Nightlife in New York. And you'll never guess who I walked past. Does anybody want to take, I'll give you a hint. It was at the Comedy Cellar. And guess who I had the pleasure of walking directly past? He's one of my favorite, I won't give it away, but one of my favorite of all time. Hey, Jared from Ohio, what's up? Good to see you, Jared. Not Amy T, says Seinfeld. Not a bad guess. Not a bad guess. Joel PM says Dave Chappelle. Not a bad guess at all. Troy Atman says Adam Sandler. You're getting warmer. It's in the comedian category. NMB45 says Alec Baldwin. No. Funny story though. My parents went to the same high school as Alec Baldwin. And the whole Baldwin family. My family's from Massapequa, Long Island, New York. That's where we're from. And at the time, the high school was called Burner High School. You could Google it. It's not a high school anymore. It's a middle school. It's Burner Middle School. But yeah, my parents went to high school with the Baldwins. Steve Wright? No. Kimmel? No. I'll just tell you guys. Andrew Schultz. So one of my favorite comedians right now, Andrew Schultz, I walked right past him. So the next video that I upload, it's gonna be titled New York City Nightlife. He's in the video. I walked right past him. I was like, oh my God, it's Andrew Schultz. I said that internally. I didn't say it to him, but walked right past him. He's a cool guy, very funny. All right, everybody, this is Washington Square Park. Wow, Sam Ems is not a fan? Ah, I got it. Yeah, I guess he's not every comedian is for everybody. SoCal Lawrence, this is Michael Rappaport. No, I've seen him before in the city though. I'm so surprised that a lot of you have never heard of Andrew Schultz. That's funny. I think he's going to be in Madison Square Garden. So, you know, I mean, you got to be a pretty big name to sell out Madison. You know, my favorite forms of comedy is like Jerry Seinfeld, like very dry, you know, Jerry Seinfeld is very classic Long Island humor. If anybody is from Long Island, right, like my family is from the same town as Seinfeld. Right, Massapequa. I think that's where Jerry's from, Massapequa. And you know, when I talk to my grandmother, it's like that same type of comedy. It's like they all act the same. It's funny. I like it a lot. But Andrew Schultz is different. He's more, I would say, aggressive. But I really like his stuff. Very funny. Oh yeah, Troy Atman says, you must love Larry David. I do. Larry David's fantastic. Gadat says Seinfeld is not talented. It was Larry David's writing. Oh my God. You gotta watch some of these Seinfeld podcasts. Seinfeld has some of the most crazy work ethic ever. Crazy work ethic. You know, he's another person who really values writing. So oftentimes on the stream, we'll talk about big hedge fund managers, very successful people in business, and they always talk about the importance of writing. You know, if you can write 10,000 words a week, just write 10,000 words a week, you're going to become a much better communicator, a very effective communicator. And that's pretty much what Seinfeld does. You know, that's how he wrote all his jokes. Ellie Wave Reviews says Schultz does a lot of risky racial and sexist jokes. Well, I think that's the point, right? They're jokes. I think that's kind of what's funny about it. That's kind of why I like his style of comedy, is because he brings a nice reprieve to the crazy world that we are in, where everybody takes everything so seriously, where it's like, you know, we can make jokes and make fun of one another, and you know, we could all be friends and kind, you know, and while picking on each other a little bit. That's kind of why I like him. You know, not everything has to be so serious all the time. And I think if we bring that out of comedy to say, hey, that joke crossed the line, or this crossed the line, they're meant to be jokes, which means they're not meant to be taken seriously. They're meant to poke fun, you know, make people a little bit uncomfortable. That's kind of what the point is, right? It's different if, you know, you had a show like this, Walks in Wall Street, and I came up here and said all that stuff, because that's totally out of line, because I'm not a comedian and I'm not trying to make people laugh, right? That's also another reason why I really like Dave Chappelle. You know, Dave Chappelle's like, comedy should be a total pass, right? It needs to be protected, because if you have everybody getting offended when you go to a comedy show, it just kind of ruins it for everybody. Now, the only comedy show I've ever been to was recently at the Beacon Theater, which is thanks to a great viewer. I won't say his or her name. But I saw Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, and oh my God, were they so funny. Those two are unbelievable. I had an amazing time seeing Amy Poehler and Tina Fey at the Beacon Theater. It was awesome. They even did some of their original Saturday Night Live SNL skits with them. And the funniest one they recreated at the show, they were Tina Fey was impersonating, who was that? I forget. This was like when I was really young. There was a presidential candidate running for president. She was like a very aggressive, you know, gung-ho Republican candidate. Forget her name, but Tina Fey did a hilarious bit. Oh man. Yeah, it's just a fun time. I would definitely like to go to more. Sarah Palin, yeah, oh my God, guys. It was so funny. But yeah, here is the Comedy Cellar, Village Underground. Pretty cool, and it's very busy tonight too. All right, let's head around the block. Let's head a little bit further west. We'll try to go all the way by the Hudson River. Okay, let's cross the street here, and then let's continue to head further west. We're gonna have really good views of the World Trade Center here. It's pretty lively out. I wasn't actually expecting this many people to be out because it's so cold.
Yeah, I'm sure Friday's there.
Hey, Kevin D, what's up? All right, Jared, you are out of here. All right, great. Yeah, Esmeralda says Eddie Murphy is really good as well. You know what's a movie I still haven't seen after many, many recommendations from the chat? Trading Places. I believe that's the movie with Eddie Murphy where he works on Wall Street. I still haven't seen it. I promise you guys I'm gonna see it. At least I think that's what the movie's called, right? Is it Trading Places with Eddie Murphy? I promise you I'll see that. Mark Francis says, I see the cold through the feed. Yeah, it's frigid out tonight. Kenny says, you love Trading Places? I'm gonna check it out. I've gotten so many recommendations there. I see somebody mention Norm Macdonald. Yeah, he was a very, very, I would say, dry style of comedy. Very funny. He recommended I watch Trading Places. Yeah, Brad is like, Tom will never see Trading Places. It's his own personal joke. Brad, I promise you, I will watch that movie at some point in my life. What's another good movie that you guys would suggest on the comedy side, right? Now that we're on the topic of comedy, very appropriately, because we passed the Comedy Cellar. What's your favorite comedic film over the years? Someone says Duke and Duke. What's his Hangover? Austin City Limits is Dumb and Dumber. Just avoid this crowd here. Cross. This is Leroy Street. We never come over this far. Usually there's a lot of foot traffic, but again, it's cold. Jack Spencer says Caddyshack. let's cross here. This is the Village Tavern. This place is always packed. Kevin D says, Tom, yes, definitely see Blazing Saddles. Okay, I'm keeping a mental note of all these, I promise. I'm gonna go and check them out. This is the corner of Bedford Street and Leroy Street. There's a lot of cool, smaller, pre-war buildings. Gary says there's something about Mary. I'll keep a mental note of that too. Anna, this is the Princess Bride. Oh, Gary, yeah, the School of Rock. I like the School of Rock. That's with Jack Black, right? Trains, planes, and automobiles. I may get a slice of pizza up here. Right off of Bleecker Street. Bleecker Street Pizza. Then you have John's of Bleecker. The only thing about John's is you can't order individual slices. You can only order entire pies. We'll make a left on Cornelia Street. This is where Taylor Swift used to live. Tacombe. They have tons of locations in the city. This is a pretty good spot, but it's expensive. And the portion sizes are really, really small. I know Brad loves when I mention this. Kansas City Chiefs' very own Taylor Swift used to live right here, 23 Cornelia Street. Now this opens up to a crazy garage. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot in here. And there's a lot of outdoor space too. Really nice charm here too. All right, I think I'm gonna get something to eat because I'm starving. I don't know about you guys, I need to eat something. And the Village is a great place to do that. So I wanna thank you all for coming out tonight. I think this was a really fun stream. This was a really, really enjoyable stream. We got to see a lot of New York City, from Midtown Manhattan all the way down to the West Village, NYU area. If you like the stream and you want to join us tomorrow, feel free to subscribe to the channel and click the like button. We do these streams every single day starting at 8:30. If you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the financial markets and in New York City in general, just scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email, and you'll be signed up for our free investing newsletter called Behind the Street. We send it out every other Thursday after the market closes. And this Thursday, we are going to be showcasing the only available sponsor unit, the only one left on New York City's Billionaires Row, in building 157. So if you want to see that property tour, scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, and I'll email it to everybody on Thursday. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. It was a very fun stream. Appreciate you coming out and enjoying your Saturday night right here with the group on Walks on Wall Street. So UNJ23, Sharon, all of our moderators, Gadot, Boston City Limits, Lynn, Esmeralda, appreciate it. Justin, Troy Atman, SoCal Lawrence, Felix, Mohammed, Abdullah, out and about, appreciate you. Lori Crockett Owens, DM, hopefully I see you Friday. William, always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. Nakos, NMB 45, Madison 32, Daryl, Chicago, Les, Chris B, KM Ramsey, Sharon Bean, Joe E, Felix. We'll see you tomorrow.